Good Thursday morning, YouTube. How you guys doing today? So we all have been hearing for a while on these YouTube streets about the unfortunate murders of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. I wanted to share an article from the Courier Journal that I found. It was it's very deep, and I want to share with you guys. It's an op-ed piece by a black man. The title of this op-ed is titled "White Power is America's Endless Pandemic. Without a cure, more people will die." The article goes on to state that with the recent protest against coronavirus lockdowns, Georgia's racial lynching of Ahmaud Arbery, and the extrajudicial killing of Breonna Taylor, the rush to get back to normal is evident, even if it's a new normal, quote unquote, new normal. People are still dying, but as long as the bodies of Black, Indigenous, and people of color are most at risk for premature mortality, white America can continue with business as usual. However, we should not be going along with the normalization of mass death that we're witnessing from the Trump administration and pundits across the country. They've compared COVID-19 to the seasonal flu. Wow. Car accidents and pool drownings, all in an effort to convince us that more than 81,000 American deaths aren't enough to justify collective grief or stay-at-home orders. Others use September 11th attacks and other geopolitical tragedies to juxtapose white America's response to abnormal collective death. Wow. But for some Americans, death and devastation are indeed America's normal. While overall crime has declined in the United States, 2,100 people across the nation lost their lives to gun violence between March and late April. In Louisville alone, wow, more than 50 shootings have happened since the city first put in place coronavirus-related orders. This past weekend, there were 3 double shootings, leaving 3 people dead. Bashir, Kentucky Attorney General, feds should review Breonna Taylor's case. Mother of EMT killed by Louisville police speaks out. Breonna Taylor didn't deserve this. The article continues to state that gun violence, along with other deadly public health issues such as COVID-19, disproportionately impact Black communities, thus creating the greatest white privilege, which is life. Black men, like myself, have the lowest life expectancy in the country. At 19, the leading cause of death among my peers is homicide. As I grow older, I should expect to live a decade less than many white peers across town, perhaps due to being more likely to die from chronic diseases. Wow. This deprivation of life itself is Black. Let me read that again. This deprivation of life itself is Black America's normal, quote unquote, normal. But these inequalities alone are not a substantial identifier of the racialized American reality where the violent disposition of Black bodies is the status quo. Wow. On February 23rd, Ahmaud Arbery was killed as he did often, jogging through a Georgia neighborhood. Around 1 p.m., he was tracked down by former police officer Gregory McMichael and his son Travis McMichael, then subsequently lynched moments later. For the next 2 months, the McMichaels resumed their life as usual, even after gunning down Arbery. Wow. Race soldiers, right? On March 13th, Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, were in bed in their home when LMPD officers performed a drug raid on their house. Walker, acting in self-defense, shot 1 time, and the officers responded with more than 20 bullets into the house. The police slaughtered Breonna Taylor, yes they did, and a spraying nurse with at least 8 of those 20 bullets. Wow. Walker was arrested for attempted murder, the boyfriend, y'all, and for 2 months. None of the involved officers have been charged with anything after being placed on administrative leave. For the past 2 months, the bodies of Arbery, 25, and Taylor, 26, lay lifeless. Walker's life was held captive, and the white bodies of the McMichaels and the LMPD officers reaped the advantage of white freedom. Wow. 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 As the coronavirus destroyed countless black bodies across the country in disproportionate numbers, little to no attention was paid to the bodies of Arbery and Taylor that joined them. Little to no attention was given to the numbers of brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters killed by the street, state, and prison violence, which America has deemed as normal. Wow. The author says that last summer I asked God in an op-ed, quote, "Did I deserve to die for being born black?" Because even then, I realized that my blackness felt like a pre-existing condition, leading to a death sentence. Wow. 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 I consistently feel powerless to change that fate. These past 2 months have only made it worse. The stories of Arbery and Taylor would be gone. Gone with the wind if it wasn't for the power of the media. But the exposure does not equal justice. America has seen the dead bodies of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Eric Gardner, Tamir Rice, Sam DuBose, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, and many others circulating the internet. Wow. In all the cases, their humanity was publicly debated, absolutely, and their destruction was deemed just by the legal system. Wow. Wow. Whew. It takes more than privilege and implicit bias to violently kill a black person than participate in a debate around their humanity. That's power. That's white power. Wow. It takes more than privilege to storm state capitals with armed militias demanding we return to normal after learning that COVID-19 disproportionately kills black, indigenous, people of color, the poor, and the elderly. That's power. That's white power. If we continue to allow the debates to be focused on black culture and black behavior, we will fail to investigate and abolish the deadly structural foundation of America's white power. And if we continue allowing political leaders and pundits to make rhetorical appeals to inclusivity and normalcy instead of equity and reparation, the government shall continue to send us body bags. Wow, when we ask for medical supplies. White power and white supremacy is the normal, everlasting pandemic of America. I absolutely agree. Until we find a cure, we will continue to die. Wow, that is powerful. And also, there is another article, while we're on the subject. There was a lawsuit filed for one of the officers that shot Breonna Taylor, went into her home with a no-knock warrant. There was a lawsuit filed on one of the officers. His name was Hankin, and he has been called a dirty cop in this lawsuit. So let me see if I can read a little bit of it to you guys, if you know. Okay. Federal lawsuit calls for Officer Breonna Taylor shooting a dirty cop with a vendetta. Now, this is one of the police officers that came into Breonna Taylor's home and killed her, slaughtered her. It says the article states that Louisville, Kentucky, an ongoing federal lawsuit accuses one of the narcotics detectives in the shooting death of 26-year-old ER tech Breonna Taylor of harassing suspects with unnecessary arrest and planting drugs on them. This is one of the guys that broke into her home unjustly, one of the so-called officers, and murdered her with impunity, okay? Kendrick Wilson, which is a black man, Kendrick Wilson filed a lawsuit against Officer Brett Hankinson in October of 2019. Now, want to read this article, to you guys, because this goes to the psyche of, entitlement, unearned privilege, the pathology of madness that's going on with these patty rollers, okay? So, Kendrick Wilson, like I said, which is a black man, filed a lawsuit against Officer Brett Hankinson in October 2019, saying his mistake was attracting the unwanted and undeserved attention of Hankinson, who had decided that Wilson, for one reason or another, had to be engaging in illegal activity and that he had to ensure his conviction, unquote. Hankinson, the officer, denied all allegations against him in a response filed a month later. Accusations contained in a civil lawsuit represent only one side of the story and do not constitute evidence in a court of law. Hankinson, Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, and Officer Miles Cosgrove are on administrative reassignment while an internal investigation is underway into the March 13th shooting of Taylor. All three are being sued by Taylor's family, by the way. Okay? Also, it says, what we know about Breonna Taylor's boyfriend and the charges against him. This is Officer Hankinson. This is the one that has a lawsuit from Mr. Wilson, aside from Breonna Taylor's family lawsuit. So now he has two lawsuits. This is who the lawsuit is calling a dirty cop. Okay? Wow. The article goes on to state that Taylor was shot 8 times by the officers who entered her apartment just before 1 a.m. Police have said the officers were serving a search warrant as a part of a narcotics investigation, but no drugs were found at the home. Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, said he thought intruders were breaking in and fired one shot that struck Mattingly in the leg. The officers then returned fire, expending more than 20 rounds. Wow. Walker, the boyfriend, Breonna's boyfriend, Walker is facing attempted murder charges for allegedly shooting Mattingly. What about the self-defense laws? There's an open carry law and concealed carry law in the state of Kentucky. The article goes on to state that Taylor's death has ignited a firestorm across the nation in recent weeks, as prominent voices questioned why an unarmed black woman had been gunned down by white officers. But years earlier, Hankinson, one of the officers in question, was accused of harassing Wilson, another black man, who said the officer targeted him and even planted drugs. Wow. Wilson's civil suit is unrelated to Taylor's death and Walker's criminal charges. Wilson's suit outlines, the other black man's suit, outlines 3 times in which Hankinson arrested Wilson in 2016 and 2018, all of which originated at bars where Hankinson sometimes worked as an off-duty security officer. Y'all listen to this. This gets very interesting, okay? It also said that Wilson, the black man, and Hankinson, the white officer, had various interactions outside of the arrest, quote, including over a relationship with the same woman. So Hankinson, the police officer, was going after Wilson, the black man, because they both had a relationship with the same white woman. Imagine that. The article goes on to state that the first arrest was in 2016 at the Tin Roof Bar, where Hankinson arrested Wilson for assault. Wow. The charges were dismissed in November. In 2018, outside the Tin Roof Bar, Hankinson arrested Wilson again. The arrest citation Hankinson wrote states that a police dog, indicated the presence of a narcotic in Wilson's pocket. Wow, the setup is real, y'all. Wilson empties his pockets, which the suit said showed they contained only money. Wow. The article goes on to state that the citation said Hankinson recovered a plastic bag of suspected powdered cocaine on the ground and arrested Wilson. Wow. But the lawsuit citing the body camera footage said Hankinson located the bag on the sidewalk several feet away from where the altercation took place. See how that worked? Quote, there's a quote that states, quote, He then jokes with the other LMPD officers about planting dope, unquote, when Mr. Wilson expressed shock over the locating of the drug, the suit says. Also visible on the body cam. Now, even though they have a body cam, I guess they're trying to, set him up and plant this imaginary dope on him to the point to where they're not even realize that their body cameras are rolling, okay? The article goes on to state that also visible on the body camera is an unarmed civilian who can be heard communicating with Mr. Wilson, the black man, that he saw an officer drop the drugs on the sidewalk before he retrieved them, the suit says. The article goes on to state that on the way to jail, Wilson said that Hankinson, the black man, said Hankinson, the white officer, has a vendetta against him. Wow. And is a dirty cop, a quote-unquote dirty cop, who needs to be exposed according to the lawsuit. It's a wonder if this man is not dead, y'all, okay? Wilson, the black man, spent the night in jail before posting bond. The suit says Wilson's also incurred the cost of drug tests, wow, which all yielded negative results in attempts to support his claim that he is not involved with narcotics. Wilson's criminal case remains pending in circuit court. So even though they now know that these drugs were planted, they have a witness to that. Clearly this man has a vendetta against him because he was sleeping with the same Anglo woman. Even though all of that, his case is still pending, right? So that is why this lawsuit is still pending, I'm assuming, right? Okay, the article goes on to state that in September 2018, Wilson filed a report to LMPD's Internal Affairs that, quote, Hankinson was unfairly targeting him, unquote. However, he discontinued his complaint because his legal case was pending and he did not have an attorney with him. Wow. The next month, Hankinson arrested Wilson a third time, this time at Sullivan's Tap House. Wow. He was riding that man. Child. The officer wrote on the arrest citation that he located, quote, a large bag of powder cocaine that weighed in excess of 5 grams on Wilson. Wow. A civilian video taken of the incident showed Hankinson taunting Wilson's girlfriend and telling her that, quote, he was planting dope again, according to the suit. Child. The charges were dropped 2 months later. I guess the girlfriend may have testified. So the black man, I guess, took the Anglo woman from the Anglo police officer, and he's been salty about it ever since. Like I said, it's a wonder that in the state of Kentucky, this black man has not been lynched, okay? The article goes on to state that laboratory testing later revealed the powder Hankinson claimed to have located, quote, came back negative for any controlled substances, according to the suit. So what was it, baby powder or something? Child. In October 2019, LMPD officers executed a warrant at Wilson's home. Wow. And barbershop. Wow. Kicking in the door of his home and pointing guns at his girlfriend before handcuffing her during the search. Does it sound like similar to Breonna Wilson? Wow. They seized a legally owned gun and Wilson's license and cell phone, according to the lawsuit, which accused Hankinson, a narcotics detective, of playing, quote, a role in the issuance of these warrants. Absolutely he did, which were carried out by narcotics officers. Narcotics officers like Hankinson and the other two that slaughtered Breonna Taylor, okay? Wilson's lawsuit accuses Hankinson of a malicious prosecution and violating his constitutional rights and seeks reimbursement for Wilson's legal fees and punitive damages. I wonder if this man will ever be able to see an end of this lawsuit, or, if they're going to find him somewhere hanging by a tree or murdered, by a drive-by shooting, or they'll say he was killed in a, drug situation or gang situation, and he owns a barbershop, and he is clearly not a felon. He is not a drug dealer or a drug user. Wow. That is truly horrible. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share this with you guys. You guys stay tuned. Continue watching this video because there is a piece from Dr. Joy DeGruy that explains the pathology of unearned privilege. Okay? And I truly believe that we are seeing the pathology of unearned privilege. We are also seeing the pathology of madness coming from these Anglos against black people like Ahmaud Arbery as well as Breonna Taylor. Okay, I saw on the news this morning before I close that they are, because the country is reopening and people are dying, they are once again pinning these deaths on black and brown people because they're splattering across the screen that the COVID-19 is spreading, out of control in the black and brown communities. I also saw a report about the Native American communities where they have such their socioeconomic situation and lack of hospitalization is so dire that they have sick people on respirators in vacant hotel rooms, y'all. Okay, so they want to paint a picture that is indigenous people, meaning Indians and black people and Latinos and other people of color that are dying of this COVID-19 as opposed to white people. This is all in the effort to jumpstart the economy, get the country back rolling again, because the pathology of unearned privilege, the pathology of white power is losing its mind. That's why you see these militiamen busting up in these federal buildings, wanting the government to restart the country, even in the midst of a pandemic. They're losing that white rage. Is running rampant. We see a perfect example of that, this Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, the killings of these people. All right. So I just want to bring this to you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy your day. Peace. Stay tuned for the next video. There are 2 videos after this video, so don't cut it off. Just keep going. Peace.
Educate every child in America to believe that everything that is of worth and of value has come from Europeans.
Let me ask you, what does that do to white people to be fed a continuous diet of distortion and lies? Because it is. Mm-hmm. What does that do to their, not so much their personality, but their psyche?
Oh, I'll tell you exactly what it does. It produces the pathology associated with unearned privilege. Unearned privilege. In other words, you have this pathology in white people that they are inherently superior. So it produces this very sick and warped, distorted perspective of their relationship to everything else in the universe. And like people believe that, the sun revolved around the earth. White people think that everything revolves around them. It's the same thing. And it's as ignorant as earth being flat. So what it produces in white people is a pathology of unearned privilege to such a degree that they are confused when they're not entitled from their vantage point to run it, to control it, to benefit. You see, they believe you have right now, matter of fact, if you look at the neo-Nazi movement and the rise of the skinhead generation, that whole crew, which is, by the way, growing exponentially as well, but we're not hearing about that, but you will hear about the Crips and the Bloods and the, oh my God, those Mexican gangs. But nobody's talking about the Klan, which is tripled, and keep a close look at the Tea Party. So what I'm saying here is that you have young people that now, because of the economic situation that, by the way, Europeans placed America in, that are now going, well, wait a minute. Every generation has always been able to benefit more, to somehow have more, to somehow, get more as it relates to being white. So now you have white males that are saying, well, my God, I can't even afford to buy a home in the same neighborhood of my parents. Whose fault is that? Oh, it must be, well, it's those immigrants. Just look at them, do the math, and look at what's going on in this country. It must be those immigrants. Because you see, I as a white male, having earned nothing, am deserving of more than them. That's the pathology. Even though they've actually produced nothing, they believe that they have this unearned privilege, that I should have the best job. I should be able to just, regardless of my credit, go in and get a house in any part of the country that I wish. You see, I should have the preferential treatment. That is unearned privilege that they're expecting to have. And when they're unable to get that unearned privilege, they explode and implode. Hence, the gentleman that flew his plane into the IRS. You mess with my objects, the things that I believe that I'm supposed to have, I implode and explode. And unfortunately, as it relates to people of color, and particularly people of African descent in this country, they become then, the scapegoat for it. It's them. Oh, yeah, and it's those Mexicans coming across the border that suddenly are becoming a problem because I can't get my unearned privileges. I can't get those needs met, which means that I should have bigger, better, newer, more. Unearned privilege. And it metastasizes into a pathology that, again, results in sometimes outward violence and or inward violence.
Let me ask you, if you would, to deal.
Hey guys, y'all come here for a second. All four of you. How old are you guys? 15. Huh? 20. You're 17. Y'all have IDs on you? I know you probably don't. Y'all have IDs on you?
No.
All right. Tell me about the TV.
TV?
Mm-hmm.
What? We don't have any TV.
Well, what about the 65-inch TV?
65-inch TV.
115.
Do me a favor. And don't make this hard on yourselves. All of you take a seat.
Take a seat?
Take a seat.
I don't know nothing about no TV.
Take a seat.
TV? What?
Take a seat. Now. 131 dispatch. I've got 4 on the ground right now.
Man, we just got here. Ain't nobody should know. There, unit 0, back them up.
I'm coming up. It's going to be about 3 minutes.
Clear.
I've got a unit with the college out here with me.
Clear.
What's up, LT? It's that one right there with the fur jacket. Okay. Yeah. Okay. He's old enough. He's 20. The other, he's 17. These two are 15. They were inside the store, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
You went inside what?
And on the patio, riding bikes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So those 3 trespass. M's going to be trespass, and we're going to take charge.
What we do?
We was just right looking at the bike.
You tried to roll the TV out.
No, man, I don't have my phone.
Yeah, no, that don't work, man.
I have my thing, bro. I have my receipt.
Yeah, where's it at?
My receipt.
Stay on the ground.
Yeah, where's the TV?
TV, I ain't stealing TV. TV is where y'all have it.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't steal no TV.
If you'd had a receipt,
I didn't steal no TV. I don't steal no TV. Where's TV?
You don't have to.
I didn't steal no TV.
Go ahead.
I went to the store. Where
y'all at?
Fucking up.
We're in the parking lot in the area right across from Captain D.
What TV? Your TV is in there.
Dispatch, show me 23 in the parking lot of Walmart.
I had a receipt, bro.
Where's the receipt at?
My receipt.
Hey, I didn't stay seated.
I got money.
You know what? You know what?
I'm not a bro.
I want you to lay on your stomach. Lay on your stomach.
I'm not laying on
Lay on your stomach. Lay on your stomach. You're under arrest.
I ain't say I wasn't fighting my own. I said you wanted to fight. No, you said you wanted to fight. You wanted to punch it, right? No, I ain't say I wasn't going to punch it right there. I said you wanted to fight, so I was playing. You know, you supposed to fight up over before. Yeah, I did like that. I ain't stealing. You don't know if I'm not going on.
Under arrest for shoplifting.
No,
Yeah, you have the right to.
I did not steal no TV, bro.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can't be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to speak to an attorney and have an attorney present during any question. If any time you can't afford an attorney, won't be provided for your government expense. Knowing and understanding your rights, if I've explained them to you, are you willing to answer any questions without an attorney present? Answer that very wisely. Yes or no? Stand up. Roll over. Standing up. Stand up. 31 dispatch from 1095 with blackmail. Come to the other side.
1095, 1508.
Face the car. Spread your feet. Spread your feet. All this one will put back in your pockets, all right? You ride a bike here too? Or no?
No, man.
No? All right. Any more pockets on this jacket?
No.
Are you wearing a shirt on that? No.
Hey guys, shout out to Willie D Live for posting this video. This video you're watching, or we're watching, is a video of Ahmaud Arbery when he was 20 years old, being targeted by the Brunswick, Georgia Police Department, Brunswick County, Georgia Police Department, as early as 20 years old. He was arrested for stealing a TV at a Walmart that he never stole. He told the officers repeatedly that he had a receipt. He didn't steal anything. They arrested him anyway. There's another video to where there was they stopped his car. They tried to tase him. They couldn't tase him. He walked away. And now things are coming to fruition as to why Ahmaud Arbery was shot dead in the middle of the street like a dog. Was he in fact targeted by the Brunswick Police Department, and had he been targeted for a long time? So that is the reason why I want to show you guys this video. Stay tuned.